Well, this is the penny composition lab part 2, and I want to show you what it looks like when we have all of the pennies here. So we have that guy still dissolving, and you can see little bubbles coming out. So there's still some reaction going on. That guy looks like he's really been beat up. Abe Lincoln took a pretty good hit on that one. This guy's still wiggling around, okay? What happens is the gas bubbles get trapped inside the penny and then they cause it to float, okay? And then when they escape, then it can't support the penny. So he's gonna move around a little bit for a while. So most of the pennies look like that. Here, this guy has a lot of extra stuff laying around. Now that's not zinc. Zinc would have been dissolved. So that guy there's no more reaction going on there. So we're in various states of decomposition here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take a look at 2 pennies. Now our pennies they're already going to be dried and cleaned up and everything else. All right, so what do we do here? We take this penny and we have to separate all of that foil from whatever's left. In other words, we have to clean out the debris. Okay, so we're going to set the camera here, hopefully, and show you that. Now what we have to do is get in there with tweezers and take it apart. So it's pretty easy to handle, so that's not a big problem, okay? But if you look inside now, it's going to show you that there's a lot of dark stuff in there. And the problem is that some of the copper looks like it wore away, right? Some really thin parts. So we may have lost more than we wanted to. We may have lost more than just zinc. Okay, so that guy in there, we have to clean that out. So what we can do is put it in this tray, and then we can just wash it out. Okay, so we can just get in there and see that there's extra stuff coming out of there. So that's cool. That's a good thing. So we're really tearing up the penny. And what we can do is also take this brush. So you get in there with the brush. And we don't want to lose the copper, but looks like we're really beating it up. Okay, so get in there. And we want to make sure that any of the leftover stuff that we have is cleaned out, but we also want to make sure we have to keep the copper. So this is somewhat delicate, but a paintbrush is perfect for this. And now what do? Now we have copper, but we don't want that water in there. See, there's a lot of water on that, and that's going to affect our results. So the next step is to actually, now what we're going to do is take that guy and we're going to place him in acetone, okay? And what acetone does is gets it wet, but then it evaporates pretty quickly. So I'm going to pour some acetone here. I want to be careful. I don't want to get that anywhere near my phone, okay? So now the acetone's in there, and we can clean that guy up a little bit. Okay, and we can still see there's some chunks coming off of there. So we really want to make sure we get that out of there. We're aiming to get 2.5% copper. Now see, the brush is fine, so the brush won't react. Okay, but what do we do then? We take this guy out carefully, if we can. Okay. And then we can dry it out here on the table. Okay, so this is a sample penny for what we're doing. Now, what will happen is, if we wanted to blow dry that, or you can see it's drying already. Because why? Acetone is in the business of evaporating. Okay, let's show you here. There's a little bit of acetone. And I'll pour some on the table. Right, it's one of the main ingredients in fingernail polish remover, but if I do this, and then just wave my hand, see how quickly it disappears? So now, that's what happened here. So if we wanted to wave this guy in the breeze a little bit, it will eventually dry pretty quickly, okay? See that? If I just blow on it, that dries up pretty quickly, okay? There's a little bit in there. If I wave my hand over that, it'll dry up, okay? So what we're going to do is then reweigh it. And so we put our sample there. Now look how small that is, 0.124. 0.124, okay? So what we need to do is we have to figure out how much copper remains, okay? So let's go back here. And we had, this guy was 2.486, and his buddy was 2.54. 2.540. So how much did we lose here? On this one, let me see if we can find it. We lost about, well, what, the mass remaining rather, the mass remaining. Hang on. It's 0.061. Where'd it go? So that was 0.061, and this was 0.066. Okay, so let's make sure we get that down. The remaining copper for the first one was 0.061 grams, so that's not a lot. And then for the second penny, we had 0.066. Okay, so now what we can do is we can talk about, notice all of this. That's not zinc though. That can't be zinc, because if it was zinc, it would be dissolved. Okay, so that should be enough lab data for you to calculate the rest of the penny lab.